Hello everyone, my name is Dawa, founder of Yak&Brew. We create DIY Tongba and Chang kits inspired by the Himalayas. Today I'll show you how to craft Tongba, the traditional millet-based Himalayan brew. If you purchase one of our kits, you will have 2 pounds of finger millet, a yeast sachet, a traditional aluminum straw, pipsing for sipping Tongba, and an organic fermentation bag, which can also double as a strainer for brewing Chang. This is the first rinse. I just dump the millet and pour some water. And the amount of dirt and millet hulls and impurities is just crazy. So I think I'll have to rinse it at least five to six times or until the water runs clean. And you'll see sometimes you'll see all these grains floating because the grains might have like either the grain is bad or it might have like air pocket. So if you gently press them down, it should sink. You don't want to lose a whole lot of grains. You just want to get rid of the millet hulls and get rid of the impurities and dirt. We are brewing the Marcha style today. And you're not applying a lot of pressure, you're gently massaging the grains. Okay. And that's how much millet hulls and impurity we've collected so far. Maybe rinse it one more time for good luck. Alright, I'm rinsing it one more time for good luck. I think that's the right amount of water. The way I measure it is from the surface, not from the bottom, but from the top surface. I lay it on a flat surface, make sure the grain is leveled, and then I use my fingers to measure it. The water level should be high. And for the next step, I have these things ready. I have a big plastic bowl, the fermentation bag. I also have 3 plates to spread and cool the millet on. I have the yeast sachet, a spoon, a cup, and a plastic fork. And I also have 3 Walmart bags. Alright, so now I'm going to start scooping the millet and putting it on the plate and let it cool for about 15 minutes. It's not a bad idea to set a kitchen timer for 30 minutes. When the kitchen timer runs down to 15 minutes, dump all the millet in the plastic bowl and mix the diluted yeast for about 5 minutes, and I would give myself 5 minutes to pack the fermentation bag. And now I'm gonna get lukewarm tap water up until like half a cup of tap water to dilute my yeast. Um, so yeah, that much of water, half a cup, will work. And again, we're using the matcha style yeast. This is the closest yeast we have to the original matcha we get in Nepal. So I just opened the yeast sachet and I'm gonna dump this in lukewarm water. And I'm gonna use a plastic fork to stir it and dilute it. And I'll let this sit for another 10 minutes or so. And by that time, the cooked millet should be cooled down. This is how it looks. I have my millet spread out and for cool down. I got my kitchen timer going. I had the yeast slurry. Make sure you mix it thoroughly. And then as soon as the kitchen timer hits 15 minutes, I'm gonna dump all of this millet in this big plastic bowl, dump the yeast, diluted yeast, and mix it for about 5 minutes. And then I'll pack the mixture in the fermentation bag. I let the millet sit out for about 10 to 15 minutes. And when I felt it, it's not burning my fingers. So it's still warm. So I think that is ideal. So I'm gonna start dumping all this millet in this mixing bowl. Just make sure the millet is not super hot, because then it will kill the yeast and your fermentation will not go as planned, and you're breaking all these clumps of millet. That's the last plate. And before you do this, make sure you wash your hands with soap and water. I wash it twice. So I think I'm good on that part. And the millet is not hot. It's not burning my finger. And now I'll take this. And we'll just dump the whole thing. And then we're gonna just break all these clumps, massage the millet for about 5 minutes before we pack it in the fermentation bag. So let me just do this for a couple of minutes. I would say 5 minutes is ideal. So I've been mixing it for a couple of minutes, maybe 4 or 5 minutes, and I think I've distributed the diluted yeast evenly. So now what I'm gonna do is wash my hands, use the big spoon, and pack it in the fermentation bag. Let me do that. Rinse my hands first. I'm gonna use the big spoon to pack the fermentation bag. Check it out, guys. I think I did a pretty good job of packing the fermentation bag. I'm gonna close this bag, and now I'll get 3 to 4 Walmart plastic bags. And then put this fermentation bag in the plastic bag. I'm not tying a knot. I'm just going to use 3 Walmart plastic bags. I'm not tying a knot here, and I'm not going to tie a knot in the plastic bag either, but I'm going to make a ball out of this. Just fold it just like that, and then I'll get a clean towel and make a ball again. So I have a clean towel here. I'm just going to wrap this and make a ball out of this and put it in a room with like 70 to 90 degree Fahrenheit. Let it sit for 2 days, and then we'll transfer this to a airtight container and let it ferment for 3 days. So day 5, your Tongba will be ready. Hey everyone, it's been 2 days, so the primary fermentation is done. Container, something with a top. You want a container that's airtight. And I'm just gonna unwrap this. Smells pretty good. And then I make sure the top is closed. I'll store this in a dark room, 70 minimum to 90 maximum, for 3 more days. So I have my hot water. I heated this water to almost boiling and then let it sit for about 10 to 15 minutes. Roughly the temperature of from 150 to 170 degree Fahrenheit, roughly around that temperature. So I've had this Tongba for about a month, maybe just over a month. It smells really good, and I don't see any sign of mold or anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Tongba, use a big spoon and fill it in the Tongba container. And I have some water here. So the ideal temperature for water is from 150 to 170 Fahrenheit. And you pour hot water, you let it sit for about 10 minutes, and then your Tongba is ready to go. Okay, I just finished packing my Tongba in the Tongba container, and I'm just going to pour some hot water, let it sit for 10 to 15 minutes, and then your Tongba is ready to go. Make sure it's not boiling hot.